The Bengals fall in their preseason opener to the Arizona Cardinals. Our takeaways right now. Hi again, everyone. I'm James Rapien, along with Elise Jesse. Welcome in to Cincinnati Bengals Talk, where the Bengals, they're 0-1 in the preseason, but it's preseason, and let's be honest, Joe Burrow didn't play. In fact, let's leave with the good news. Joe Burrow running faster than us today, certainly faster than me. I don't know. Elise might be able to crush Joe Burrow in a race, but Joe Burrow, before the game, right back here, was running sprints with Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. It's a good sign.
James, let's not start rumors. I cannot beat Joe Burrow in a race. I highly doubt that that's possible. But yeah, that's good to know because, he's come a long way since riding on a golf cart around practice. Then he's suddenly standing up. He was standing for quite a long time tonight at the game on the sidelines. So that's a good sign to me.
Yeah, I did ask Zach Taylor during the post-game news conference if Burrow is thrown. And he hesitated a little. I think there was a slight hesitation. He said, just what you've seen at practice, just a little casual tossing. So who knows? I do think we're going to see Joe Burrow throw pretty soon because if you can sprint, even if it's at like 80% speed, I think you can throw a football. So who knows? That being said, the Bengals dropped 0-1 in the preseason. And the thing that stood out the most to me, I think to you, and to everybody watching right now, the offensive line. And naturally, when Ted Karras doesn't play and Lyle Collins doesn't play and Jonah Williams doesn't play and Alex Cappa doesn't play, okay, that's one thing. But the Cardinals didn't play their starters either, and that's the big takeaway is Jackson Carman did play. And I think a lot of people in this building were hoping that he would kind of separate himself in this left guard battle. And I don't think he did. In fact, I think he hurt his chances of being the starter. That door might have been cracked for Cordell Volson. I think it's wide open after tonight.
Well, yeah, you've heard coaches say plenty of times you expect a bigger leap from a player, especially in regards to development in year two. After they've already been in the system for 1 year, they should have it down pat. And Jackson Carman, I know everyone wants him to work out. It is his job to lose. And he didn't seem like everything was clicking correctly with him. Granted, I wasn't there to listen to the conversation, but I was up in the press box with my binoculars, and I could tell that Frank Pollock was having a bit of a heated exchange from the looks of it with Jackson Carman. And then Jackson seemed like his back was turned towards me, but he seemed like he was explaining his side. But the issue with that is when you're being coached by an old school coach like Frank Pollock, that could easily sound like an excuse, and Frank Pollock does not deal well with excuses. He just wants you to do your job and do it well. End of story. So, yeah, I think Volson has some leverage at this point.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see next week. It's 9 days from now. The Giants, week 2. Will Volson get in the first half? Will he get in with the first team? How does this coaching staff react to it? I'll say this. Jackson was awful. Let's just call it like he was just bad. I mean, there were multiple times where guys would run by him. I know he ran into who was it? I think Adeniji was playing left tackle at one point during this point at least. He ran into him on a screen. I know Joe Goodberry pointed that out. Like just stuff that you don't want to see from a guy who's supposedly going to be your starting left guard going against backups. And so we'll see what happens there in the remaining days. Let's switch this. Let's get a little positive here because I think there were some positives, not necessarily on the offensive line, but if we're sticking with the trenches, Jeff Gunter, yes, I thought showed up, 93 for those wondering. Zach Carter showed up again. So 2 rookie defensive linemen, 2 draft picks, both making plays.
Gunter has been insane all training camp during practice. So what he did tonight, I know one of the first plays that I saw him really stand out, I guess, under the lights for me was when he batted down that pass in one of the first series of the game. So he just seems like he's got a knack for finding the football. And he's just seems really strong, really passionate, and plays with a heck of a lot of passion. And that's going to take you a long way, especially on this team.
Especially when you're built like that and you can move like that, because he tested like a freak athlete. And speaking of freak athletes, Dax Hill, those of you that have been around since draft time know how high I was pre-draft on Dax Hill. Well, I thought we saw the flashes. Now, there was the touchdown early. I think he probably didn't get to it as quick as he wanted to. Looking at the replay, he just kind of stick in the mud almost. But then made 2 plays, had 2 passes defense. Almost had that interception where I thought he was on a trampoline. I'm not going to lie to you. He jumped really, really high. Would have jumped out of the range of our camera here. So, yeah, I think Dax Hill was a good first start with, by the way, Jesse Bates right over there watching as Dax Hill, his potential eventual replacement, was out here balling.
Well, for Dax, I wouldn't be worried if I were a Bengals fan because it's not like they really go super hard with the pads in practice. So this is his big taste of live NFL action. So maybe he's one of those guys that needs time to settle in. And I mean, we still have 3 more preseason games to see what he can do and what he can show off if he plays all 3 of those, of course. And I thought it was really interesting that Jesse Bates was here. I'm not surprised that he was here necessarily because I know that he has such a tight bond with Joe Burrow and the rest of his teammates. But it's just funny that he was here in supposedly a Reds hat, no Bengals gear. He was just here seeming like a pure fan.
It was funny. Zach Taylor was like, oh, yeah, that was my suite that he was in, jokingly. It was not. He had no idea Bates was here. Look, I think it means that he's still supporting his teammates. And even though it's not done and he's not with them yet, he wants this team to do well, and he wanted to show his support somehow. So I think that's a good way to do it. Don't expect to see him on Sunday at practice or anything like that. I don't think he's going to sign his franchise tender at 11:34 on a Friday night. I don't think that's going to happen necessarily, but I do think we'll see him back, September 3rd, September 4th, in that range, right before Week 1. But we got to get to the offense. I was about to sign up. We got to get to the offense, and there is a lot to get to. Kendrick Pryor showed up, made a ton of plays. Number 19, he had the one-handed grab. I talked to him one-on-one, so we will put that up. And I got to give Drew Plitt a shout out. 6 for 6, a perfect passer rating. Throws the touchdown to Pryor. Loveland native. Here's the thing: he was at the AFC title game in January, and so he attends that as a fan. And now he got to come out here in front of 60,000, by the way, over 60,000 people. Today's attendance was. I don't know if there was actually 60,000, but that was the attendance, maybe 55,000, something like that. Anyways, Plitt got to put on a show in front of his hometown fans. Even if he doesn't get to play another down for the Bengals, that's pretty cool.
That's what these preseason games are for. It's for guys like that or guys on the fringe or guys who are simply trying to make a name for themselves, make a future for themselves and their family. And, I mean, this is the biggest time of their life. It's the biggest test of their life. Obviously, they have dreams of playing in the NFL for a long time. Most of these guys do anyway if you talk to them. So whether it's contributing and adding value to special teams or the practice squad, they're fighting for their lives out here. So it's I think that's the most interesting thing about preseason. For sure.
And a guy like Pryor pushing for a roster spot, and Drew Plitt could play again next week with Brandon Allen now dealing with a concussion. Last but not least, Evan McPherson. It doesn't matter who the holder is. It doesn't matter who the long snapper is. He worked through multiple different guys tonight and kicks a 58-yarder and a 56-yarder. The dude, well, he's money.
Yeah, I liked how Joe Mixon was walking out going like this, making it rain, and then he gave McPherson a big hug, and I think that was after his 56-yarder. But I also really love how the rest of the team celebrates McPherson because he is just absolutely – you just know that it's going in when he's up there ready to kick a field goal. You know it's going to go in.
Yeah, it's wild because he's such a young kicker, and the crowd went crazy before the kick. And so now there's build up. Now it's like, is his nerves? It's just like he doesn't have nerves.
Doesn't affect him, which is a great thing, by the way. Yeah. So the fact that he's not rattled by anything, he doesn't get too excited or too crazy before he makes a kick. He seems very calm and ready to go and execute. And that's exactly what he does. It's business as usual for him, it seems like.
Business as usual. It's business as usual for us here on Cincinnati Bengals Talk to come to you after every single game. By the way, if you missed it, Elise Jesse, every single Thursday right here on Cincinnati Bengals Talk, 8 Eastern, starting this Thursday, covering your Cincinnati Bengals on the OT. I know you're excited.
Yes.
I'm excited. And by the way, just to give you a little snippet, someone talked to A.J. Green tonight because he was here. He didn't play, but he was here. Someone, Elise, talk to A.J. Green, so you'll be seeing that on this channel as well. So For Elise Jesse, who you can catch this Thursday, I'm James Rapien signing off for now as the Bengals drop preseason game number 1. The record doesn't matter because it's preseason. 2 more to go. New York next week. We'll be back at practice on Sunday, and we got plenty coming your way. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and until next time, for Elise Jesse, I'm James Rapien signing off for now at no longer Paul Brown Stadium. What the heck is this place called now?
Paycor Stadium.
Paycor Stadium.